Hi everyone, Andy Partington, Commodore of Hailing Island Sailing Club. I know I look a bit windswept. Well, there's a good reason for that. I've actually been out on the water for the first time since January, and that's certainly brought a smile to my face. I know it brought a smile to a lot of people's faces down at Hailing today. So I thought we'd have a little chat and give you an update on the first weekend of the club reopening. So we've been open for 3 days. I think everybody that's been down there has had a great time. Karen and I went out for a sup today and supped most of the way up to Menjum, which was great. And I suppose I've got a couple of thank yous to say. And our first is to everybody that came to the club this weekend. Thanks for coming, and thanks for what really was exemplary behaviour. We didn't see any real issues. I think everybody went about their business of going sailing or whatever activity they were engaged in on the water in a very responsible way, complying with the spirit and the rules and the regulations that we sort of live under now. I think we all got tempted a little bit to hang around and have a chat, and I think that's only human. But I think most people realised when maybe there was a bit more of a gathering than there should have been, and moved on. So thanks to everybody who came. I really hope you enjoyed yourselves. But equally, I also want to thank everybody that didn't come. We didn't have a rush down to the club. We didn't get to a situation where we were over our capacity. And I know a lot of people have held back because for various reasons. And to be honest, I want to thank you for that, because when we made the decision to open the club, it was with a mixture of excitement on one side and a lot of nervousness on the other side, in terms of had we got all the right controls in place to make this a success. And I think the overall assessment of this first few days would be it was a success. It worked well. There are things we now need to look at, but I think overall I think it worked very well. And the final thank you I really want to say is to our crew, and particularly Edwina, Leah and Henry, who between them, with other help, manned the gate pretty much most of the weekend. And that gate and manning the gate, it was a key part of the success of this weekend. And I'll come on to explain a little bit more about that in a minute. But thank you guys, you did a great job, and I think we're all very grateful for your efforts. So, what happened over the weekend? Well, Friday, relatively slow, not too busy, but as the weekend went on, it got busier and busier. Today, there was quite a lot of people at the club, and we know exactly how many people were at the club, and I'll come on to why that's so important in a minute. So, I didn't think I'd do a story from the wall today. I know you all love the stories from the wall. You've been telling me that. But I thought, the story today is Hailing Island Sailing Club. And as I was cycled down there this morning, there wasn't many people around, and I was going down the causeway, and it just brought a smile to my face. The fact that I was there, I was able to go out on the water, and there were people really just there simply to enjoy the simple pleasure of going out on the water. And as the day went on, we had there was lots of windsurfers out there. There was lots of people supping. There was a lot of single-handers, double-handers, all sorts of boats out there. Families basically making the most of a great weekend and the sort of freedom we've got. So the story this week is definitely Hailing Island Sailing Club, and we went sailing, which was great. So let me talk about some of the questions that have come up this weekend. And a lot of people asked me about the gate and the opening and the closing hour we've got, and I want to explain that in some detail, because I would say that is probably one of the keys to this weekend being a success, and one of the key controls that we needed to have to make this weekend a success. Let me explain that. So several people said, compressed opening hours, isn't that just going to exacerbate the issue of too many people in one place at one time? And clearly we were aware of that risk. But let me give you the key reasons why having those restricted hours and the gate being closed outweighed really any risk that there might be in that particular area. So first and foremost, we know exactly how many people came onto the site on all 3 days because the team were open the gate, they were checking, they were clicking people in, and we had a very accurate count of the number of people on site. So that's a key input, that we now know what those numbers mean in terms of the busyness of the site. And one of the key unknowns with this whole thing is, what is the capacity of our site given all the social distancing measures? How many people could we cope with? And none of us know the answer to that. But what we do know now is how many people visited and the impact that had on the club. So it gives us a really important data point which to plan going forward. And if we hadn't have controlled the gate and controlled the opening hours, we wouldn't have known that. So that's point number one about the gate. The other is, and I think a lot of you know this, but we have had quite a challenge with non-members using the site over recent years, and particularly on nice sunny days that becomes a real issue. And I can tell you that on Friday there was probably about 20 cars that came up to the gate, had a look, and went elsewhere. And we also had reports from other sort of neighbouring facilities, I won't mention any names, that basically were asking us, why are you sending so many of your members down the park here? Well, we weren't. They weren't members, but they were trying to get in. So if we hadn't controlled the gate, we would have had a potentially a significant number of non-members on the site. Now we know we have an open site, and protecting all the areas of the site, especially people walking on it, is a challenge. But we also we were patrolling the beach on a regular basis. So we did, I think, a very good job of understanding the challenge we have with non-members coming onto the site, and B, managing them and asking them, preventing them coming on site, and if they were on site and they shouldn't be, asking them to leave in a very nice way. So those were two key reasons that we controlled the gate and the opening hours. The other, it gave us an ultimate control that if the site was overcrowded, we could shut the gate. And as I said in my note going out last week, that's the last thing we want to do, but it gave us that control, and it was very important we had that control if that happened. Fortunately it didn't, everything went well, but closing the gate, having limited hours, gave us that control. And the fourth reason that the gate is so important is overall security, because the site is going to be a lot quieter in the evenings because we don't have any social activities going on. The restaurant's not open, the bar's not open, everywhere. So if we didn't close the gate at night, there would be a significant risk in terms of security, in terms of people being able to get in and get to your valuable possessions, the club's valuable possessions. So I think it's clear from that this limited hours and the ability to control the gate was really important and part of the success this weekend, and all of those advantages outweighed the potential of us compressing people into too short a period of time, which we don't believe was a significant risk anyway, because most people come in those core hours anyway. But I hope that gives you a good context as to why we did that, and and why it worked. So what now? Well, we made it clear last week in the note that this weekend was what I call a pilot. We were testing what was possible, and we planned it as well as we possibly could, but we were testing what worked and what didn't work. And every day as a team, we're looking at what worked, what didn't work, and what could we improve. And really now it's time to assess that. And I can't give you any firm answers. The weekend's just finished, and we'll be reviewing things and announcing plans for the near future after the next couple of days when we've had the time to reassess. But just to give you a context for that, we have some significant challenges in the short term. We have a whole lot of yachts, as you probably noticed if you've been down the club, that haven't been launched for obvious reasons, and we have a bank holiday coming up. So we need to be very careful about how we control the site, what numbers we have, the fact that we'll have an operation launching boats, etc. So my simple ask is be patient. I know everybody has been very supportive, but we need to be cautious, be conservative, and make sure we take the right next steps. So we can't guarantee that the club is going to be open every day. We're just going to assess what happened this weekend now and announce plans for the future in a few days. So I hope you appreciate what's been done. We need to make the right decisions, the right decisions for our club, for the wider community. And if you've got any views on our policies and the things we're doing, speak to us directly. And if I could just make a simple ask, that I think we've seen quite a lot of debate on Facebook over the last few weeks, and quite obviously because people are locked down and there's a little bit of frustration out there. But if you've got a question about the club policy and you've got a view, then talk to us directly. Social media might not be the best place to have that debate. So a little ask from me. But thank you, everybody. It's been a fantastic weekend. I was pretty nervous going into this. Had we got everything right? And I'm not saying we have got everything right, but I think we've made a great first step to opening up our great club, and we will continue to do that, but we'll continue to do it in a cautious and careful way, but try and bring it back and give everybody what they want, which is a great time at Hayling Island. So thanks for listening. Hopefully see you all soon. Bye.